Red light therapy is more than panels and face masks. Sure, the science is solid when it comes to improving skin health and joint recovery, but what about its impact on the brain? And what about gut health? Is there a link there as well? Well, today I talk about these topics and more with Sarah Turner. Sarah has a research background, a passion for light biology and how it impacts our health, and she's a whiz when it comes to red light therapy. I met Sarah at a dinner while in London, and I knew straight away I had to sit down with her and get her on the show. So in this video, we talk about red light therapy and the gut-brain connection, how pulsed light can be beneficial for brain health, and why Sarah likes using light on the forehead instead of the top of the head for the best brain application. Oh, and finally, we also talk about her new company, CeraThrive, and the neat products that will be hitting the market soon. Let's get into it. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for taking the time to speak. I see you've got something quite unique here, so I'm really excited to learn more about it, but I also know you have quite an interesting background when it comes to red light therapy. So firstly, yeah, thank you, welcome. And do you want to tell me and tell the audience a bit about yourself and how you ended up in red light therapy?
Sure, and thank you, Alex. And it's lovely to meet you in person, by the way.
Yeah, like.
Sure. So I started out actually as a pharmaceutical scientist.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent many years working at GlaxoSmithKline and various other drug companies. And actually during that time, I was on a special task force looking at issues that came up with drug products. And things like static is a problem, especially for delivering things like asthma drugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was kind of doing these experiments in lab coats with all metal threads and like rubber boots and things like that, looking to see how you could influence how powders deposit in your lungs.
Wow.
So it was really cool. And then I sort of thought, well, the way that you solve it is to ground the person, because then, of course, the drug would go to the right places. Yeah. But that's obviously not a commercial solution for these companies. And so that was a bit of a awakening time for me. It's like, okay, it's cool to learn that, but now I need to apply it.
Yeah.
So I did a nutrition degree, I did various other things, had a health food shop.
Wow. And you were still working in the pharmaceutical?
No, I left the pharmaceutical industry because obviously I could see, their solution was let's just make a different plastic.
Yeah, you're right.
Whereas my solution was let's just educate people and tell these asthmatic people to ground, and probably a lot of the symptoms will go.
Yeah, right.
But like I say, it's not a commercial solution. So I thought, okay, maybe time for me to leave and study nutrition or something where I felt like this will probably have an impact. But actually, even with there's limitations, even with the nutrition.
Sure.
So I did a neuroscience degree because...
Neuroscience?
Neuroscience.
As you do?
As you do, yeah. Because it's all about the brain, really. I think a lot of it, if you can really take care of your brain, think your way out of these things. But also, that's the most important component.
So how old were you when you did the degree, the neuroscience degree?
I was probably in my late 20s.
Yeah, right. And is that a 3, 4, 5 year degree?
That was...
Typically, how long is it?
It's a couple... it was a master's, so it's like and I did that while I was working.
Yeah, good on you.
So I ended up with these like 3 science degrees, but because I kind of switched around and did different things. But then I kind of went into more, and I would say slightly woo-woo research.
Yeah.
Looking at consciousness interface devices.
Well,
very fascinating. I did a lot of cool experiments, and that took me over to California. Yeah. And I got involved in the biohacker movement then. Because, that was all kicking off over there in California at that time. And I got to be involved in some movies about biohacking.
Really?
Made a movie.
What was the movie?
It was called Supercharge.
I guess I've seen that.
I've seen it.
So what was your involvement in that?
I helped write that, produce it, did all the interviewing, did all the scripting.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that was cool because I, of course, got to meet all the biohacking people.
Totally.
And that was when Wim Hof was just kind of getting big, and I went to Dave Asprey, Jerry Pollock, all that. And actually visiting Jerry Pollock, I became very interested in his work with water and how light structures water. And for a long time, I kind of focused my energies into that. It's very interesting, how can, the work of May Wan Ho, Dr. May Wan Ho, lucky enough to go and visit her where she had all of her stuff going and speaking a lot about quantum coherent domains in water. And then really it kind of evolved from that because, of course, we're water. Humans are water, human brains are mainly water. So it kind of was not so much of a leap for me to start looking at the health implication. Because initially I was kind of thinking of a structured water product, but I think there's a lot, that needs to happen before we're ready to kind of make something stable in water. And that, again, the science is a little bit shaky there.
Yeah.
But the science with red light therapy is not. There's a ton of research in red light therapy.
So you're the real deal. I mean, I didn't know all this about you, so that's quite amazing. But how did you get into the red light therapy stuff? When did that come in?
So that was when I was kind of looking at water and thinking, how is this going to be applied? You know, how can I apply it to the brain? Because all my studies have taken me really to do brain science.
Got it, yeah.
And so actually I went to a couple of conferences and I met some people who were doing photobiomodulation. Yeah. And I just rang them up and said, can I come and, do some data collection? Because I got the research background.
Yeah.
So I started out doing some data collection on the studies just to see if it was, legit. Is this really going to work?
Yeah.
And I went to Philadelphia and helped do data collection on a Parkinson's trial.
Yeah.
And they were using 1070 nanometers, this great big helmet. Actually, it was invented by a guy here in the NHS. But he couldn't use it in England, so he'd sent it over to the States to do the trial.
Yeah.
And it became very apparent to me very early, within 3 months, who was on the sham and who had the active device.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, these people, I was doing, how was their movement? How was their reaction time? How was their gait? How was their general conversation? And I was like, okay, these people are getting better. Actually, so there was a bit of resistance. Some of them weren't actually happy with getting better. Yeah. I was kind of dealing with a bit of aggro from a lot of these people that were coming in, because all of a sudden, they could put their own coat on, they could kind of get up and do their own thing. They didn't like it, because that, you develop a kind of an illness persona, and then when you start getting better, that's a whole nother thing. But it obviously gave, I was like, right, this really does work. I want one of these. I was doing a bit of brain coaching at the time.
Right.
And I thought, I want one of these devices, but I don't want one of these big old...
Yeah. What were they, big, helmets?
It was a big helmet with big fans.
Oh, yeah, for calling and everything.
Yeah, for calling, so it had big units, it had a big thing that came over the head. I mean, it was a very cool invention. Yeah. But can you imagine putting this on a little old lady with Parkinson's? They're kind of slipping down the back of the chair. It's so heavy.
And that was 1070, just 1070, was it?
It was just 1070.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, that was Quiet Mind Foundation. Credit there to Dr. Marvin Berman and the guys at Scott White.
And then he's now working with Neuronic, right?
Yes, he is now the scientific officer at Neuronic, who've got a much more streamlined helmet. So I wanted something portable, mainly to use for myself.
Right.
So I went to various companies, and I ended up going to a company in the Netherlands, Lightree Ventures.
Yeah.
And they agreed to take on the design, and they've done everything. So now we have a collaboration.
So then you saw all this, you saw the science, you saw how effective it was, and you were saying, you just wanted to create it for yourself. So what was the moment you went from, I want to create this for myself, to, okay, now I've got a legitimate company, and you're here at the summit?
Well, when I was speaking to the guys at Lightree Ventures, they're like, yeah, we can make it for you, but we actually believe in the product. So we want, because of course, who doesn't want to kind of contribute to potentially helping the dementia crisis or things like that? And that might be far down the line, because as you know, with the regulations as they are, we don't have a health product right now.
Yep.
So what we have is a wellness product that can help people go from a baseline to better. But certainly the aspirations are that we're going to try and contribute to helping people with these really debilitating illnesses. So the Dutch guys were totally in. So they're like, okay, we're gonna do it, and they've done a fantastic job. But now it's like, okay, let's get it out to a wider audience.
And now you're an entrepreneur, right? Add that to the
entrepreneur.
Add that to the CV, which must be pretty lengthy already. So the company is called CeraThrive.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Awesome. And I'll put links to everything we talk about down below. You've got the products here in front of me. Is that correct?
Yes.
This is it. So let's have a look. What actually is it? What's it doing? How does it work? I see there's two components.
There's two components because, as you probably know, in any kind of brain condition, there's a gut component. And certainly with neurodegeneration, there now seems a lot of evidence there's a strong gut component in what's going on. And so it makes sense to me to be a bit more holistic in the treatment, because it is difficult to get light into the brain.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, the skull is fairly transparent to near-infrared light, but you've still got barriers there. So from my point of view, if you want to maximize the light effect on the brain, it's a good idea to use a systemic or a remote device at the same time. It's just about kind of maximizing your chances of getting the best effect. So this is the brain device.
So this goes on the forehead.
This goes on the forehead, and it's got light in clusters.
Yeah.
So each of these clusters has 4 wavelengths of light.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the visible red.
Yes.
But it also has 850, 940, and 1070.
940, 1070, right. Yeah.
Longer wavelength light.
Yeah.
And this is deliberate to kind of make sure that we're maximizing the effect and targeting all potential chromophores in the brain.
The red is
630.
630, yeah.
And that red light is because, there is blood, blood is going around.
Yeah, sure.
We already know that mitochondria, there is free-floating mitochondria in blood. That was a, cool discovery a few years ago. So one, you're getting the blood around the head. And then with these longer wavelengths, you're targeting cytochrome C oxidase in the mitochondria.
Yes.
And then potentially with these longer wavelengths, like, 940 and 1070, you're also targeting the water. Which to me, this is kind of my connection. This is why I wonder how much effect the structured water's having.
Yeah, because it's funny, because a lot of companies, a lot of people in the field avoid the wavelengths that are going to be absorbed by water.
Yes.
Because, it's just wasted.
Yes.
It's not. So it's an interesting play, and I totally get it. Yeah, it makes sense. So the 4 wavelengths in here, is it an equal split, 25% of energy?
No, it's not. You can see here the red.
Yeah.
And then it's a split between the longer wavelengths. So there's more of the red.
Yeah. Cool. And how does it work then? You turn it on, put it on the head.
Yeah. So this is very simple. You put it on and put it on the head. It's also got an app, because the other interesting thing about a device like this is that you can modulate the frequency with pulsing.
You can do that through this.
Yeah. You're irradiating the brain with the light. You're getting all those beneficial effects, potentially of the water and the mitochondria.
Yeah.
But then the next level is, okay, can we modulate that frequency with pulsing to have a brain entrainment effect, or maybe something else is going on? Yeah. So I've got 7.8, which is kind of a Schumann frequency, which is also a low alpha frequency. Yeah. 10, 40, a gamma frequency, and then 100 hertz.
Oh, yeah.
Because I saw some fascinating studies done, mainly using ultrasound frequencies, of people using 100 hertz where they were getting into very deep meditation states.
Yeah, right.
And this is research that's going on at the University of Arizona. And so I've got that higher 100 hertz frequency in there, and I've called it in my app meditation.
Yeah, okay. So you control all of this through the app?
This is all controlled through the app. At the moment of my consumer version, it's just 6 different presets that you can choose that I've kind of decided, okay, chill out, we're going to have that as an alpha frequency meditation. For my next iteration, which is coming after this release, I'm also going to have a clinical app. Right. So that if people have done an EEG, or if they've done something where they want to modulate the frequencies in their own way, they can do that.
Got it. So the preset sessions in there, how long?
It's 10 minutes. So it's 10 minutes, so you can set your preset. You put on your gut panel at the same time. So this only has 2. This is just 630 and 850, because obviously you've not got so far to get into the gut. So this kind of goes on over the gut at the same time. Yeah. This is probably interesting to the biohackers, is that it's got this Bluetooth disabled. Right. So once you've set your program, you turn off the Bluetooth.
Makes sense.
And then you're not getting Bluetooth to your head. Also, there's the battery is double shielded in here. So there's no EMM.
It's just USB charged.
And it's just USB charged. And
then this is manually operated.
And that's manually operated for now, because also to limit the Bluetooth, and it's just an off and on. It's, it's mainly to go to the gut. I think that's the best way to use it. But I do have a researcher at Durham University who's doing long COVID who wants to put it over the chest. Yeah,
right. Well, I suppose you could use it anyway, right?
You could use it.
If that sore ankle, you can hit that with that. And then so that belt is
just to attach. Yeah, it straps on. So the good thing about this is you can do stuff at the same time. Yeah. I use this if I'm working. I put this around my back. I put the headband on, and I'm getting on with work. You're not tied to a wall or to a plug.
Hey, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit the like button below. And if you want to see more interviews with company founders and experts in the red light therapy space, be sure to hit subscribe while you're down there. I know, technically at the moment it's a wellness product. You'll hear at the Health Optimization Summit, there's a lot of biohackers, as you mentioned, people just looking to optimize health and wellness. Someone who, maybe is in their 30s, who doesn't have any serious health, brain issues, what are they going to see benefits-wise by using something like this?
Well, I think probably most people now in their 30s or not is kind of thinking like, okay, what can I do to maximize my chances of staying healthy? Also, there's a lot of stress around and a lot of sleep issues.
Yeah.
And sleep is a highly energetic process, and people kind of forget that. And they think, okay, I'm exhausted, I'm just going to crash out. But no, you do need a lot of energy actually for good sleep. So anything that's kind of going to give you that energy, the meditation piece.
Yeah.
We're kind of in a world where it's difficult to kind of find that stillness, focus.
Yeah.
People who want to get the edge.
So those are all the presets in the app?
They're the presets, yeah. It's got energize, it's got meditation, it's got focus.
And that's changing the pulsing rate. It doesn't change the power output or the wavelengths. It
changes the pulsing rate, but also it changes the target site on the brain. Because that's one of the cool things that I wanted them to do for this device, and that's why it's got clusters.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of evidence coming out now that where you shine the light potentially could have an effect.
Yeah, right.
So, for example, there's a guy in Austin University, Dr. Francisco Gonzalez Lama, and he's just irradiating the right hemisphere of the brain and finding that that has an effect on depression, for example. Some really cool stuff. So for my presets, I do adjust the light that goes into different areas. So, sometimes I'm targeting just the two hemispheres.
Yeah.
Sometimes just the central one.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That is interesting. So then how are you using it? How do you use this?
So I'm, at the moment, I'm kind of flat out getting all this set up. So I use it to try and focus because I try and get like a real focused piece of work done every day. Like one piece of work, let's really focus on doing that. And so I do it, and I think it's probably beneficial to pair the stimulation with what you're trying to do.
Yeah, right.
It kind of helps that neuroplasticity piece. Yeah. So if I've got like a difficult research paper or if I've got a task, I will wear it for the 10 minutes, focus, concentration.
Yeah, cool.
And then I'm using it. If I was to do meditation, I would also then use it in meditation. It's kind of like pairing the stimulation with what you want the brain to be doing.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then do you think like this current setup, I know there's constraints, resource limitations, financial limitations and that, but do you think this package here is all that's needed? Or do you think in an ideal world, like you'd have more clusters, as you call them, come around or even on the top? Because obviously there are other products out there, the full headsets and that. So I'm curious to hear like why you've gone down this band.
The reason is mainly because I'm involved in a lot of the research people that's going on, in a lot of groups. And when they're doing a lot of trials using these helmets and things, I found out that they shave the hair a lot of the time. Because hair is a big barrier. And so I thought, well, I want to consume a product, No, people are not going to shave their hair when they use a product. So this is like a good entry point. Also, there are a lot of the projections from the brain, a lot of them are coming into this frontal cortex area.
Yeah.
So even though you're just stimulating this area, you're actually stimulating a lot of what's going on in the brain potentially, if that light is...
Yes. Yeah, like, good point.
So and also with this pad, you're also upping the dose.
Yeah.
Because all the light, the body is a total interconnected system. You can't just irradiate this and then no, that's not how it works. If you irradiate the gut, all of that blood is going to end up in the brain sooner or later.
So a lot of my viewers would already have a red light therapy panel, maybe like a small tabletop light or even like a handheld battery powered device. If they did have a panel, like a large one, and they were doing that 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, I don't know, maybe 5 times a week, could they then instead of using this, just use the headset while they're standing in front of a panel, like for the systemic benefits over a larger area, do you think?
I think, it's totally possible. Of course, you can use whatever you've got and you're getting the light to your body, because the more light you're getting to the body, the more dose. Yeah. The thing that I like about these ones is that it's flexible, because the thing about the panels is, light is going in a straight line. Mm-hmm. So if the light hits an angle on your body, it's going to bounce or do kinds of things. Yeah. So if you want know the dose.
Yeah, sure.
If you want to know your dose,
because this is against the skin, of course.
you put it flush to your skin, and you have something that's totally contoured to your body, then you can gauge the dose.
Yeah,
but I mean, of course, if you're working with something else, you just kind of have to make your best guess. But the further you are away from those panels, the light's going to drop off.
Yeah, totally.
With doses,
be
a lot less.
Yeah, it's true. It's I just, when I was saying, I'm like, I could totally use that when I was on the other thing, tie it all in. Have you looked at, in your research, and even when you were setting up this company, have you looked at intranasal photobiomodulation? So what's your thoughts on that? I mean, is that for brain, let's talk about the brain here, is that going to be very effective for brain health, like getting the light to the brain? Is that something you considered, like partnering up with bits?
But I've got the intranasal, but yes, I'm not too keen on having these things up my nose. And I found that, I was like, oh God, have I got to do this the nose job? And
if you don't like doing it, it's just like training stuff and fat loss diets. If you're not going to do the program or the diet,
and I noticed about myself that I kind of had a resistance. I was like, opening the drawer, seeing it, and like, oh, okay. But actually, I think there probably is benefit to it.
Right.
I don't actually know if it's getting to the optic bulb or not. The theory is you put it up your nose and it gets to the underside of your brain. I'm not sure. I think maybe it's enough that you're just irradiating the blood all in those fine membranes around your nose and face.
I interviewed James Carroll from Thought with the Nova Thought bit yesterday, and he showed me a slide. They have a product. It's called the Lollipop, I think they call it.
Right.
Something like that. Oh, blanket. Anyway, you put it in your mouth, and it's got like a ball on the end with, I don't know if it was, I think it's LEDs. Anyway, he took a photo in a dark room, turned the lights off, just had that, and took a photo. And you see the light above the eyes. You see it right down through the jaw into here. And he said to me, like, for those that say red light doesn't penetrate, look at this. And he told me the irradiance of it. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to check my notes. But it was nothing, nothing extraordinary.
Right.
But he's saying, like his point was, look, we know this is all working, right? But we still don't know how it's working. Like, we have some ideas, but there's so much we don't know. Yeah. And that was an example just, for people saying, no, it doesn't penetrate. And he said that was his belief as well. But now the more he's learning, the more he realizes we still don't know.
We don't know, and maybe the body is doing something because light is a physical thing. Quantum mechanics can apply. What's going on? Are we getting some kind of like a resonance effect? Mm-hmm. Could be. So because I had this cool story the other day about this guy who was having red light on his teeth because you can use red light for teeth issues. And then all of a sudden his dementia symptoms started to go away. And you're like, well, that's interesting because all he's having is a small amount of red light down here in his jaw.
Yeah, we recently published an article and a video on the systemic benefits of red light therapy, right? And it's just fascinating. And the conclusion of that, we published the content and everything. And I thought about it afterwards. I'm like, does it get to a point where, we don't need full body arrays. We don't need the Nova beds.
Yeah.
We could just get torch or something, and shine it like blood irradiation, shine it on the wrist or something, or like on an artery, because that's what some of the research was indicating. So it's bizarre. And I was speaking to Bart, who you've met, and he's like, he does a heap of research for me, and we had this good conversation over a meal, and he was sort of saying, like, you are getting those full, his belief was, you're getting the full body-wide benefits, but at the same time, if you have a sprained wrist, for instance, or a sprained ankle, and you're only treating your chest, you may see a benefit there, but you're probably going to get a bigger benefit if you're treating it directly. And he used the analogy of weight training. Like, you could go in and just train your biceps and arms, and you're probably going to get a cardiovascular benefit, and you're probably going to get like some neurological benefit and bone density in that. But you'd get, and that may be full body, like system wise, but if you went out and did some lunges or squats or push-ups or chin-ups, and it was interesting. So obviously there's still so much we don't know.
There's still so much, and what could be going on, because we now know that red light helps with stem cell proliferation. So who knows, maybe the effect, you're putting it on your fat cells here, And that's what's having the effect on your brain. Like you say, there's a lot of other things that's going on. I think we focus a lot on this, like reducing ATP.
Yeah.
And that's a cool effect, and we're getting energy. But now we know, okay, what else is going on? The mitochondria is signaling to the cellular DNA. Maybe that's a lot of the effect. Maybe water's the effect. Even here, like we've got this gut microbiome effect. There's some great data now looking at people who've had red light before and after and done stool samples, and their gut flora has totally changed. Maybe that's a good focus point. Like it kind of goes to the body being so interconnected, and we kind of, I think it's just the body's constantly trying to get to a homeostasis. You provide it with energy, you provide it with light, you provide it with the things it needs in the right environment, and it's kind of doing the healing. Yeah,
and the cool thing about all this is there's so much research showing it works, and there's so much user case studies, anecdotal reports that it works as well. So even though we may not know necessarily exactly how it's working or the ideal dosing or, ideal frequency, ideal wavelengths, it almost gets to a point where it's like, it doesn't really matter. Like, these products are working, so just use it. And surely over time, they're only going to get better as we learn more.
Yeah, and people are doing some cool research. I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago where they were looking at things like the pulsing schedule, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
Can you actually get to the point where we could find these pulses that actually correspond with neurotransmitters?
Yeah, right. Yeah, wow.
Because people are now sort of getting to that level. So as research kind of steps up, we just have to keep taking the latest research and trying to apply it. And in the meantime, if it's working,
run with it. Yeah.
Yes.
So are you using red light therapy in any other areas? Like, do you use it as a daily, treatment for the body, or do you have devices for your skin or sore joints or anything like that, or are you just exclusively using this?
I use this. I have a toothbrush.
Yeah, cool.
My toothbrush is red light.
Yeah.
I have these pads that, if I go to the gym and somebody sprains something, of course they can use this for pain.
Yeah.
But I use this. I have access to all the face masks and things.
Yeah.
Maybe should be. As I'm getting older, I maybe should use it, but less so. But they're cool.
Yeah.
That things have their application, and anything that's kind of mimicking sunlight.
Yeah.
But with this, I'm trying to do a little bit of brain coaching, because I think probably the best way to kind of maximize the effects of these is to do it with natural light. To use it also as a way to tell people, okay, the light is obviously having an effect on your body. What about the rest of the light in your environment? You can't just use this and then sit under a fluorescent bulb all day to maximize it. How else are you kind of, seeing sunrise? Are you walking?
Grounding, like you're saying.
Yeah, the grounding piece, which,
Yeah, fascinating. So what's in store for CeraThrive and for yourself?
Yeah.
The name, so it's not a tongue twister, but it just...
Yes, I know, CeraThrive.
CeraThrive. So what lies ahead? Is this available at the moment? You're taking pre-orders?
I'm taking pre-orders because I'm at the stage now. This is, we're at the test phase. These are test devices, and then we go straight into full production. So it will be ready end of August, start of September. So I'm taking pre-orders on this version, so that will go out. I have a lot of research devices allocated.
Right.
So the first round will be to get them out, get the feedback in.
Yeah, really cool.
The app, like I say, is the consumer version. So my next round will be a clinical app for people that kind of know how they want to modulate the signal.
Yeah, cool.
And then, of course, the next iteration of that is to include some kind of monitoring.
Yeah, right.
So that people can kind of see how it's working. But lots of people have been coming to me with all suggestions. Well, I don't know, either sort of functional near infrared little sensors so we can look at brain oxygenation.
Right, yeah.
Maybe combining some kind of tech like heart rate variability or EEG.
EEGs, yeah. Me. And what about yourself? Any more degrees or businesses you're going to start up?
Well, funnily enough, I have just started a diploma at the University of Montpellier. They've got the first postgraduate diploma in photobiomodulation.
Really?
And it's cool. I've already done the first semester.
Really?
Yeah. And they have some great teachers there. They have Dr. Anne Lieber, Damien Villa, who's like a physicist who's kind of running the course. So I'll finish that. And then...
when will you wrap that course? Is it a year long diploma?
It's a year long, yeah.
Maybe we should reach out in a year or two and I'll See what's new, see what new things you've learned. Hey, it was really cool chatting to you. Really excited with the products you got here, and I hope I'm sure it's gonna help lots of people. So it's really cool that you've taken all your experiences and all the knowledge and not just, written a blog about it or a research paper, but you've actually brought a product to the market, because I know that a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of money has probably gone into this. So congratulations on that. And like I said, I'm excited to see how it goes in the market and how people find it. And I'm sure it's going to be all good. So thank you again. And,
thank you, Alex. Yes, I look forward to getting one in your hands. So
totally.
Your feedback.
Geek out on it.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely stay in touch, because you obviously know a lot about this stuff. So it'll be cool to maybe do another call sometime and just get more into that technical stuff as well.
Perfect.
Very cool. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, that is a wrap. It was quite fascinating. I really enjoyed my conversation with Sarah, and I'm looking forward to seeing more about this product, the CeraThrive product. Maybe other products as well that the company is working on in the future. We'll see. Sarah did mention she'll be sending one my way when they are in production. So if you do want to see my review on that product, be sure to leave a comment below and also hit subscribe so you can be notified by that. Otherwise, all the resources, the websites, and the links that we mentioned are going to be in the show notes below. In the meantime though, check out this video. It is with the co-founder of Kineon, and we look at their product that has been designed to help with joint pain.